Minute to present. I think you can see my slide. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. I'm CEO of CaliCare. We are based in at the ZGC Center. I started CaliCare. I'm an ophthalmologist by background. I was in Europe for many years, went to med school there, and moved to the Bay Area 24 years ago. I started CaliCare, founded CaliCare with the intent to really go after a very important problem, health issue, which is why, despite having all the medication, effective medication, the surgical method, still millions of people remain blind and lose their vision. And that's why this is exactly what we want to go after. And for addressing that, we actually developed two approaches. One was, let's start by having, since the medication is available, management technology, a medication management platform. And the other one is how about a way to address the pathology or the condition we're going after that we have managed before. Why? In order to really help patients have a better and longer eye health. Just a few words about the company. We are based in Santa Clara at the ZGC. I'm actually in the office right now. It's empty, but I'm coming every morning. Thanks to ZGC team who's doing everything to make things happen. And despite all the restrictions we have, is really helping us to be able to come to the company and have some of our work done. We have 10 full employees working here, expert in smart sensor, analytics, machine learning, cloud computing. We are a small company where you have a substantial and large portfolio. We protect what we invent and we create, 60 issued and pending patents worldwide. On the funding side, we are preparing a Series B. As you know, because of the pandemic, things have moved a little bit. And we do have some investor already, including one big pharmaceutical company. And the team, again, I'm the founder. I'm an ophthalmologist by background. This is not my first startup. We have an excellent team member and co-founder, young, and including some people with really experience in the domain. And at the end of the day, what is very important is the team you work with, not really what you bring to the company. And let's talk about the first product we have, which is a digital medication management platform for ophthalmology, but you don't have to restricted that to ophthalmology. The first product is a predictive assessment. What that means is when a clinician, a doctor has a patient, they have no idea when they prescribe a medication, what are the risks? Is the patient going to take the medication? Is there any difficulty? What is the problem? We do have a clinically validated software can help provide the data to the clinician about the risk and high risk to low risk of a patient. It's this very important aspect and can really help the clinician to adjust or even change the prescription based on that, I would say, spectrum of risk. The second is you will find some patient who would absolutely need, especially elderly in our market, they absolutely need to be helped. They may have few medication, they are very complex regimen, and they not take it or they take it too much or not in the right time. We do have a system, remote system, which is wireless, to really understand, record, and relay the medication activity without asking anything special to the patient, and we do that. And the data can be, of course, sent to the clinician or used by us to really take an action. And what I mean by action is it's an intervention. We do use AI for that. We basically use machine learning to provide on-demand solution to patient based on their medication patterns. And that's very important, especially in ophthalmology. We do have some patients who should not take again the same eye drop, or if they don't remember, if they missed the eye drop, if they should not take it again. All of that has to be, it's very hard for a patient to manage that, but we do that for them. We do that, and we have, of course, way to contact them, SMS, phone calls, chatbot. And just keep in mind, our population are elderly. That means it's not just have a cool app on a smartphone that they're gonna use it. A majority of people, including in Asia, even they have a smartphone, they are not using it as a health app or health device. That's why we have to adapt in order to be used. The target market, we started with a market which may be surprising, clinical studies. We realized the problem I mentioned are the same for in a clinical study. We basically assess the adherence, we monitor patient, and we actually provide important information that are very important in order to validate a drug. And also the other reason was by doing that, we have access to the patient, we have access to big pharma who are our customer, and we validate the usability and the experience of the patient, because people in a clinical study are the same patient you would go after, which is after means the bigger market, which is the patient market. Just to give you some number, we have done 14 clinical study, major clinical study, millions of point information we collected and analyzed, and it's a global company. We have been in more than 25 countries with our platform. And this is just to show you some name of not only medical center, hospital, but also major pharma who are using our platform. The last point is the digital medicine. What that means is basically we realize that people don't take their drug, even there is medication, even when it's free, like in Europe, they still don't take their drug. And we wanted to find how we can help, especially for one condition, which is glaucoma. Is the second leading cause of blindness in the world. Is irreversible, harming your retina. There is no way you can find vision. That's why it's very important. It's a large number of people have this condition. Their intraocular pressure goes high, and it really kills the retinal cell. What we developed, because of, again, available medication, medication are available, but people don't take them, or the result is they still lose their vision, is we develop an interactive software program. We are capable of reducing this pressure I mentioned to you inside the eye just when the patient uses this software. We have done already one pilot study, and we were able to show that by using for a few minutes this software, the patient can able to reduce the pressure inside the eye, which is very important to save their vision. I think I'm almost time. These are our customer, of course, ophthalmologists, but mostly the big pharma. We are talking to them, and we hope we can actually sign as much as possible deals. We are number one in ophthalmology in what we do. We have clinical validated everything I show you, and we are a global company. I think my time now. Thank you very much.
Okay, please tell me if you guys are seeing my slides.
It looks great.
Okay, great. So today I'm going to show you a story, how to build a social learning app. It's not just my startup, it's about the chain. And I want to share my secret sauce to everyone. And hopefully you guys can enjoy the talk. And this is my second time deliver this one, so feel free to give me any feedback. So first of all, give me a few seconds to introduce myself. So my name is Angelo Huang. I'm co-founder and CEO of Bla Bla EdTech. And previously, I have 7 years of previous venture. I have the great exit, and now I'm on my second startup. So this startup is targeting education, but it's specific for language learning. And our current investors, including YC, Starling Venture, Wayra, and Amino Capitals. So today, the topic is about social learning. So my story is to tell you guys how I built a great social learning product. And I will share step by step how we became where we are today, and along the journey, what we learned so far and what we can achieve in the future. So first of all, social learning app demand is rising. Probably you are not aware of it, but it's actually rising because of pandemic, because of Gen Z learning habits. So first of all, you have to encouraging people to have a live conversations. And the reason we chose the language learning was also a great fit because it's essentially for people and people communicate for communication. And Gen Z demands for more real-time engagement. And that I want to show you how you can build your network effect into your product. So when you coming out, your own product, especially on mobile, you will face a very important question about notifications. what I'm going to send notification to my users, what kind of the message I want to deliver to the users. So one message I want to deliver for you guys is the Clubhouse notification are so effective. So it tells you when your people like you follow are talking at the moment, and you click, you join the conversation right away. And that is not a phantom click or phantom message. It actually gives you a purpose to come back to the app. So think about it when you're trying to create your own notification systems in your app. Second thing is about the key elements of a social learning. So oftentimes we want live conversation, we want live interactions, but this is the part most people forget. Even in the education app, you have to have a simple to use and live engagement, and you have to able to facilitate friendship in your app, like focus on human and human connections, and not in, this is just one example of Clubhouse, but you can apply to your app. And for us, it's education, it's the language learning. So Gen Z really love to talk with each other, and you have to build the element into your app to have facilitate people with another person to communicate online to practice their second language. Just imagine when you're trying to learn a language like Korean, Japanese, Spanish, how hard is it for you to practice alone? You have to find someone, native speaker, the best, right, to practice. So same thing, can we build this into an app to encourage the interaction between humans? And second thing is like, since we're talking in Gen Z, that's one thing you don't forget about, female versus male. This interaction is really powerful if you can really leverage that. And third is the real-time audio and video. I think you're aware that the power of this real-time mechanism works today. If you can move that, some of that from web to mobile, you will have a very, very powerful app. And to drive the early success, you need the inferences to bring the early traffic. And I think this is a very obvious one. So the second thing we did was the leaderboard. So we encourage people to have a peer pressure to compete with each other. We have a check-in mechanism. We have a quite a repeating speaking. So, and everything has a leaderboard. So this create a virtual peer pressures. And you also can find interesting people to follow. And that's essentially a fundamental way to build a communities. A third element is a newsfeed. I think this is an obvious one, if you come from Facebook age. And now on the mobile, same thing. You have to build a community around a newsfeed. When you follow a person, when you follow teachers, you want to see the newsfeed coming to you, and you can comment on it, you can like on it. So this create a virtual mutual interactions. So the how we're going to win in this like social learning, competition or landscape. So we have a great content. So make sure you always have a great content that will increase your success. And the second thing, the machine learning, personalized recommendation. Make sure you have a way to bring the best content to your users. And doesn't matter if it's a professional generated content or user generated content. As long as you have a great recommendation mechanism, bring that to your users. So a great content builds trust. So even you have a UGC content from selected users, but those are great. That's a great first step to bring the trust. So always think about how can you build up the user-generated content from selected, top performers of users, and those will bring more users to your platform. And second part, always like have a mechanism on your backend to bring up the popular content. So sort of like a manual give a manual higher ranking on those popular contents. And if you want to build live conversation, remember to have a moderation. So make sure that no persons can dominate the whole chat room. Always there's a moderation built in. And so far we have achieved a great result. The pair speaking I just showed you, although we are a short form video platform like a TikTok, but our pair speaking result is astounding, but we have only 2 weeks, release. After 2 weeks release, we achieve 3,600 minutes of meeting time a day. And that's 1,800 pair speakings a day. That's really crazy. If you think about, this kind of amount that what people need, in terms of practice of speaking with another persons. And we have about 10,000 weekly active users. So far, our paid customers are about 150 to 200 range, and 30% of them are paying yearly. So this is an early start, but we have seen great results, changing how people learning a language to a mobile app, to a more short form video type of a media, including live interactions. And this is my story sharing today. And thank you so much. And hopefully that, can bring you up to the next milestone. Thank you so much.
Happy Chinese New Year, everyone. And thank you, Wenli, for the introduction. And also thank you, ZGC, for giving us this opportunity to present SFoundation and for our partnership opportunity with ZGC. So my name is Ken Wong. I'm the co-founder and CEO of SFoundation. So what is SFoundation? We are a decision management company. We want to put a score on every company. So how are we going to do that? So currently, as an investor, it is time consuming to find a good startup. And usually it takes about 5 minutes to chat with each startup. Imagine you have to talk to 100 of them a month or even more. And after you narrow it down to maybe half of them, you still need to spend more time evaluating them. And then at the end, you have a few startups. And now the work to do, the due diligence and to track them is the next step. So you remember Airbnb story? Mostly a lot of them have heard of that story. When they started, for many years, a lot of people rejected their idea after talking to them and then totally forgot about them. Imagine if you have a tool to find this Airbnb earlier on and invest in them at their early stage, you will be a millionaire or even a billionaire by now. And on top of that, how about the 25% startup that failed? There are a lot of good talented founders in these failed startups. How do you find them? So what if there's a solution to this? So instead of talking to 100 startups, you only need to talk to 20 of them. And you can also use this to track their progress all the way from when they are a new startup all the way to Series A, B, C, or even higher. And how about using it to compare one startup to another? Another example is, most likely, based on the conversation just now in the investor channel, there are a lot of good startups that is hiding, let's say in New Zealand or Colombia or Mozambique. How are you going to find the gems in this country very quickly? So what is this solution or tool called? I call this the Excel score. So SFoundation has created this tool to help people to find good startup and find them from their very humble beginning and follow them through. So we have also created a SaaS platform to help them to find startups or founders and engage with them. Imagine the time and resources you can save by using this to do your initial startup filtering. So what is this Excel score? It is a score that measures startups, and it is based on 10 metrics. And we use this score to develop an internal algorithm to calculate the score itself. Then we use this score to develop a chart for the startup. And then we use this chart to help you to monitor the startup or to use it to find new startup. And then you can also use this to track them from pre-seed to pre-IPO. And in addition, you can use it to discover talented founders that actually belong to a failed startup, which a lot of people most likely forgot already. So these are the typical metrics that we use to measure startup through our Excel score. You have the general product services, customer sales, team finance, legal, investors, and many more metrics that can be measured for all these pre-seed and seed startups. Discover, using the Excel score to discover talents. And how do you use it to discover talents? We look at the grit, whether the founders have courage, strength, or passion. We look at their humility to see whether they can think, they are open-minded, or if they value continuous learning. And then we look at the way that they think, whether they can think outside the box. And this last trait, the innovative thinking, is actually easier said than done. But Excel score is here to improve the process of finding talented founders. Basically, you're finding diamonds in the rough. So what is the platform? The platform is a SaaS platform for startup to list their information. Most likely you know. You can find information in AngelList or Crunchbase. But the information listed here in our platform is curated, meaning they are not padded with rosy pictures. And also we have a feature called Conversation, where investors can chat with startups without having to review their email, so that they may not get spam. And also we have the connection feature for startups to keep their interested investors updated on a monthly basis, so that you don't have to send too many, you don't know who to send it to, when you send it to, or how you send it to. Use our tool to send the progress on a monthly basis. So how it works: startup and mentor submit a report to us. We score the reports and give you a score. And then this is done on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. So who can benefit from Excel score, or what are the applications of Excel score? So startup accelerators, startup incubators, investors, corporation. When I say corporation, I mean internal, non-public corporate incubators. And for universities, we can actually help them to guide their student entrepreneurs using our metrics. And how about high school? We can use Excel score to help the students to learn about the startup process or the startup metrics. And then startup founders and solution providers can use our score to help find founders and good startups. So how about diversity organization? This is the core of Excel score. So Excel score doesn't filter based on the look of the founders or the language they speak. We filter based on their performance. So if you look at the chart of two companies, which company do you want to talk to, or which company do you want to investigate further? So currently we have a partnership with ZGC Capital to provide a pre-seed and a seed accelerator program using our Excel score and Excel score platform. And thank you very much for listening to me. And that's it. That's the end of my presentation.